Hello again and welcome to our lessons. Today we're doing lesson 3.1 and this is all about tables. Now back in the early 1900s when HTML was first invented and we started making things for the web, if we wanted to position anything to the right or left or central or whatever positioning we wanted to do, we used tables. Now this was really good when all the equipment was the same, as back in those days we only had one resolution on the screen and everything was fine until we started getting more powerful computers. Now with that we had started to get the choice of different screen resolutions and different browsers came in and all sorts of things were starting to change, and because of the shortcomings that we had with tables is CSS was actually invented. The problems that we had was that if you had a table that looked really good in one resolution, as soon as you put it on a different computer, different resolution, different parts of your screen would go all over the place and it would look a complete mess. Now, tables are still used on some websites even until this day. They're probably used in a very simple form. And because of that, we still need to know how to deal with them and how to use them. And that's what we're going to do today. All right. Well, let's look down the page here. We have an incredibly good resource here, which is at W3 Schools. And this has try it now screens where you can just play around and you can see the results on the same page at the same time. And if you're interested, you can go and have a look at that, but let's have a look and see how they work first. Alright, we've got a new tag which is called the table tag, and when we are writing our HTML code, of course it's the next thing that we write after we write the table tag would be the end table tag with the slash in front of it. We also have another new tag which is the TR, and that it simply means and table row, and again as soon as you write that one you must write the end table row to finish it. We also have the TD. Now the TD is basically your table cell. I have no idea why it's called a TD. To me it's more logical TC, but anyway, TD it is. And for each cell we have the opening TD tag and a closing TD and tag. Now you can have many TD open closes in one row, and you can have many table rows in a table, which gives you complete freedom. You can have many rows and have as many cells as you want in each table. Okay, well I've got an example of a small table here. We're just below it, it's got the code, and what I'd like you to do is just simply copy this and go to your working folder, create a new text document, change its name to, I'm just going to write table play. You might need something a little bit better if you're going to give it to me, and let's change its extension to HTML. Yes, open this with Notepad. And I'm going to paste that code in, save it. All being well, you should have a working simple table. And there it is. I'm going to make that a little bit smaller, narrower, so I can see both the browser and the code at the same time. Make that narrower as well. Okay, we have our HTML, the head and header body, and here's our table. We also have another element inside here, which is the border width. If I change that to 0, let's have a look at what happens there. I'll do a refresh, and as you can see now, all of the borders have become invisible. Really helpful if you and trying to make something look like it's formatted text, I can make that quite wide. Let's make it a 3. Save that, look at the result, and it's just the thickness of the border. Okay, we have the first row, the end of the first row, and within it we have a couple of cells. Opening the first one, this is the second one, we can change that, do something, and we should see the result. Okay, now let's put in a third row just for the fun of it. So we'll enter in a TR here. The very next thing we do is we close the row. Let's go back, populate it. We need a cell in here. And the next thing we do is we end the cell. And let's put in, this is third row, first cell, and let's save that, see what happens. Okay, now notice how I've only got one cell in the third row but 2 cells in the previous row, and it kind of does something funny to the borders. And generally, if you're going to have a table, it's much better if you have consistent cells in all of them. Now here's something as well, watch this. If I make another cell, I'm sorry, another row, let's close that. And I'm just going to write in here, so this is 4th row. Okay, let's save that and see what happens. Now notice the 4th row is not even in the table, it's actually above it. And why has this happened? Is because I've actually forgotten to put the cell in. If you don't put cells in the row, they're just not going to be treated as such. I can enter in my cell here and then close it. Now let's see if that's gone to where it should be. And it has. Of course, we've still got problems here because we haven't put the cells here, but I hope you can easily see that the relationship between the cells and the rows. Okay, now as part of the activity, I wanted you to populate your table with more rows and more cells, and in one cell I wanted you to actually put some pictures. And so let's put a picture in here. So I'm going to open up the second cell in the third row, and before I do anything else, let's close it. And I have in the same folder, where's my folders gone? I have in the same folder this picture, which I'm going to simply copy so I don't have any typos. And where is my cell? Here it is. So let's put in a image tag, just img, and the source in src equals, I'm going to paste in my image name, and then close double quotes, close the tag. Actually, I might tell it that it doesn't have a closing tag. And that's for our images. We do that, and let's save that. Minimize my Windows Explorer and refresh. And there we go. I have a picture in my table. Alright, so now by looking at just what we've done, we've added cells, we've added rows, we've put images in. I'm hoping that now you have the knowledge and the ability to be able to do the activity, experiment, have fun with your tables, and submit the file with your experimentation back to me.